I'm not okay. I'm not okay, I'm not okay. Oh my gosh, why am I crying? Hey guys, I feel like it's been such a long time since I last sat and made like a video. For me it's been like 2 weeks-ish. But anyways, today I'm going to be talking about the anime Banana Fish, and during those 2 weeks I was kind of like away. I watched Banana Fish, and if you guys don't know what Banana Fish is, it's basically an anime that was adapted by a manga. The manga was made in the year 1985 until 1994, so it was a good 10 years run for this manga. It was created by the author named Yoshida Akimi, female author, let's go. But the anime was adapted back in 2018 and I only recently watched it now. Mainly because I didn't really hear about it much until TikTok for some reason. And then my sister told me to watch it and then I watched it and then like... Basically, before I get into like the spoiler aspect, I just wanted to share why I think you guys should watch it if you haven't already. But basically, it's like a really unique story, but it gives you like really American action type movie vibes. It is set in America. There is a very smart protagonist, and I love smart protagonists like in Code Geass, Death Note. In my opinion, he's not really on the level of Lelouch and Light Yagami from Death Note, but he's like pretty up there. It is an action, but there is really funny comedy parts, and I just love it so much. There is really amazing character development. The characters really progress throughout the whole show. There arguably aren't really any annoying characters. Like the character development with the relationships are also really amazing, and I really liked it. And there is really good animation and music. Like the animation was made by MAPPA, and MAPPA did like Dororo, they did In This Corner of the World, they did Kids on the Slope, they did a lot of popular anime, and soon they're going to be doing Attack on Titan, I believe, season 4, so I'm really excited for that. There's really good music throughout the show. It really like helps set the tone and the vibe of the type of like show it is during the scenes and stuff. And I also really do like all of the openings and endings. There's only 4 obviously, 2 openings, 2 endings, but I do really like them all, and I love the bands. I assure you guys, if you really like rock leaning towards like death metal, I think you're gonna like the music. With the plot, I guess you could say, it's kind of confusing, like especially like if you're small brain like me. I feel like a lot of the stuff that they talk about and like the concepts, like I just couldn't really understand because it's like mafia stuff. Just keep watching, don't let it like intimidate you. I just like don't understand like 100%, you know? Like as the show goes on, it does start making sense, so just don't let it intimidate you. Don't like get frustrated if you don't understand something. Just let it flow, just watch it, and then you really will enjoy the show. And lastly, I want to talk about the trigger warnings because this is a more mature show. There's like a lot of like touchy scenes in it, or like touchy like concepts. So if you guys are sensitive to these type of genre on the screen right here, I really advise you not to watch it because these topics aren't really the main themes in the show, but it's like something that is pretty prominent with the characters. It's not very graphic, but it's like it's there and you know it, right? So like if it triggers you, just don't watch it. I advise you not to. Okay, so that is my little like intro to this little video. So if you haven't watched it, pause this video, go watch the whole show, and then come back. So we're gonna talk about everything that happened, everything that's important. Yeah. My first thoughts before I watched it, I didn't really know much about it. All I knew it was like involving the mafia, stuff like that, gangs, a lot of pew moments, and I knew that it was set in like America. I knew it would be sad, and I didn't really expect any like comedy, but I did expect to cry. So I didn't really know much about the show going into watching it, which is in my opinion the best way to watch a show not knowing anything. So next we're going to talk about Ash and Eiji's relationship. So basically right in the beginning you see that Ash is oddly a lot more softer to Eiji than everyone else. And then when Eiji was like, hey, can I touch your gun? Is that a real gun? Literally everyone in the bar was like, don't ask him that. Surprisingly, Ash was like, hey, here, take my gun. So it was mainly really confirmed for me that Ash and Eiji would have a special kind of relationship during the hospital scene. So after the first fight, Ash got arrested. During that scene, you can see their special like relationship because Ash is like so much softer. Like he was a different person from all the other scenes that we've seen Ash in. Eiji, his innocence intrigues Ash because Ash kind of grew up having to grow up faster. His innocence was taken away from him at a young age. Being with Eiji, he feels more refreshed, more relieved, and he feels like, oh, I can act like a normal 17-year-old kid with this guy. And during the scenes that Eiji and Ash are just like together, it's like the slice of life portion of the show. You can see how it would be like if Ash lived a normal life with Eiji. And I think that was just like really sad. But yeah, it was just like a little really small look into how Eiji and Ash would be if they lived a normal life. And according to the Banana Fish fandom wiki, in the Garden of Light manga, which is a little bonus that came after the ending scene, basically the Garden of Light manga took place years after Ash's death. And Eiji basically goes back to America and he meets up with Sing, and Sing says that Eiji and Ash truly loved each other, but they didn't like physically, I guess you could say, act on it, and that they were true soulmates. And I really do believe that they were, because I feel like they're so opposite, but they fill each other's needs. What one is lacking, the other fills in for them, and vice versa. And I think that type of relationship is like my favorite relationships. Like opposites attract, guys, and it's true. Now I want to talk about like the major deaths. So the very first death was Skip, and I was shocked. I was really shocked. Like my jaw actually dropped when that happened because I was like, no, he can't. Like I loved Skip. Skip was like such a really likable character. He had so much potential. When they killed him off, I instantly knew this show is like that type of show that they won't hesitate to kill anyone, you know? So at this point, I kind of predicted that Ash and like Eiji, like one of them are gonna die. So the next death was Griff, and Griff is Ash's older brother. I honestly didn't see this coming either. I honestly thought that Griff would get better. I thought that Ash would find a cure. I feel like Griff was pretty much already dead the moment he took the drug. And I think that's really sad because he went like years or months, I think, under the drug. Shorter's death. One of the saddest deaths, probably the second saddest death in the show, because I understand why Shorter did what he did. He was obviously being threatened. His priority is his family, his gang is his priority. Even though he kind of gave in to Yutlung's threat, he still promised to keep Eiji safe. Bro, like I didn't see that coming, that they would use Shorter as a lab rat for the drug. Like, dude, that was so sad. The moment they drugged him, I knew it was kind of over. I was like, he can't recover from this. I thought it was so freaking brutal that Ash had to kill Shorter basically to save him, you know, because he said, Ash, I can't anymore, set me free, I'm in so much pain. Thought it was so freaking disgusting how the scientists were like, ooh, the brain of someone who had banana fish, ha ha ha, we have to take this as and study it, blah blah blah. And I thought it was so sad that this is like the third person that Ash cherished died, and Ash deserves the world, he doesn't deserve it. Next is Arthur's death. So Arthur's character, he was pretty much a sellout. He was just like, hey, I don't want to be in this poor gang anymore, I want to make it to the top, even if it means betraying my former gang and blah blah blah. I honestly don't really have much opinion on Arthur. I just thought he's like annoying. Not like annoying as in like, I hate you, but it's more like, But I thought like leading to his death, like the fight scenes and stuff was pretty cool. And during the subway scene, I feel like Ash could have easily just been like, bang, ended it there. Arthur was like, hey, you can kill me now, I've lost. Ash was like, no, we're gonna fight to the death on top of the train tracks in front of an audience. I'm joking, but yeah, I mean, that's not stupid, I guess you could say, because there's an aspect of like honor. They are gang members, so it would be kind of, it could be seen as cowardly. Like, I understand why they decided to go the route of having a fist fight with pocket knives. But yeah, I didn't really care much about Arthur anyways, so I was like, okay, bye. So the next major death was Eduardo. I think that's his name. I honestly forgot his name because he came so late into the show. And I honestly had to like wiki it. I thought it was really weird to add another antagonist at the end of the show, but I understand. I guess you could say it was necessary because the overall antagonist was Dino, the ugly ass, bold ass man that deserved to die in the first episode. I understand why they brought in this new guy because fist fight with Dino wouldn't be interesting, you know? Like, this guy is like physically incapable. Another thing why that was necessary is because you can show that how powerful of a drug banana fish is and how valued it is by a lot of people, that even someone that Dino hired would betray and try to steal it. Just imagine Dino like fighting Ash. Dino would be squished. I think. I don't know. Yeah, and then during Eduardo's like fight scene, and then Ash was like, oh, he's dead. But no, you always have to confirm the kill. I knew it instantly that he was not dead. I knew that he would come back. Freaking invisible military boy came back alive. I was like, haha, I'm gonna kill you guys now. But then Dino, the one time I was glad that he didn't die, saves the day. Like, what the frick? Bittersweet about that part. I was like, Honestly, I honestly thought it would be Blanca that saved them, but it was freaking Dino. And then second lastly, Dino's death. The most character of this whole show. Like, I just wanted him gone. What is his skin made out of? How does he just not die? HIII honestly could have just shot him at the party and ended everything. They could have went to Japan. They could have lived. But no, HIII had to miss with his terrible aim. But I mean, I get it. I've never touched a gun, so I don't know either. But I think it was necessary that HIII didn't shoot Dino or kill him, I guess you could say, because if HIII did kill him, his innocence would be taken away. And I think that was one of the main points of the show. So when Eduardo shot Dino, when Ash had him held hostage, I was like, whoa, what happened? But then at the same time, I was like not surprised because Eduardo was like talking about how he wanted to, I guess you could say, take over the banana fish shit and to team up with Ash, I guess you could say, and take over Dino. So I wasn't really surprised, but I was like, whoa, that just happened. I swear, Dino's freaking invincible because like this man walked all the way to the control center and like shut down that helicopter shaft or whatever so they couldn't get away. This man walked all the way to that floor in the unfinished building and still had the strength to shoot Eduardo, saving Ash and Sing, and then ended up falling off of the building into a fire pit of fire. Fire pit of fire. One of the most satisfying but bittersweet, I guess you could say, deaths, because at the end of the day he did make the effort. Instead of just like dying, Dino decided to say, hey, I'm gonna help out Ash. But like, why? What is his motives? Like Dino's so annoying. Like, he's not annoying, but it's just like a disgusting character. Excuse of a human. So maybe he actually is physically capable to have a fight with Ash. And then lastly, the most tragic death of this whole show, Ash's death. So Ash's death was left open-ended in the anime, but in the manga he was basically dead at the library. I choose to believe the route of the manga because the anime is pretty true to the manga. So I would like just to say that he did die there. His death was stupid because I thought if Ash actually were to die, I feel like it would be a epic battle and then die like, HIII, I loved you. I hope you live happily in Japan. Don't forget about me, but forget about me. You know, like, but no, it was like, oh, I'm going to the library. Oh, I want to go see Ash. I'm HIII now. I want to go to Japan because he got me a ticket. Don't want to waste his money. And then HIII wrote this really love, heartful, nice letter for Ash. And then Ash was like, okay, I'm gonna go. But then this annoying ass dude, literally a side character, a character that didn't even matter in the show, killed my boy. Lau killed Ash in defense of his little brother because before leaving the gang, Ash and Sing were supposed to fight, but because Lau left the gang, he never knew that that deal was basically off. Lau also never really knew the true reason why Ash killed Shorter, right? But yeah, that's why, like, in general, like, even in the real life, like, communication is so important because things can be misinterpreted. At the point when the librarian was like hitting, oh, like, hey, you're not supposed to be sleeping here, and then she was like, oh, it looks like, I can cry, it looks like a peaceful dream. So then she just left him there, and like, it's so sad because, oh my gosh, why am I gonna cry? Ash went through so much in his life, and like, this is the only part that we see him at peace, like sleeping at peace, being at peace. I'm not okay. I'm not okay, I'm not okay. This is like the only time that we saw Ash at peace and he deserved to be free, and he deserved to go to Japan. He deserved to be happy with Eiji because of after everything that he's been through. He deserves to live as a normal 17-year-old boy. Oh my gosh, why am I crying? I'm always with you. But now it's kind of like Ash is mainly always with Eiji or Eiji.
Sayonara America.
Sayonara.
Sayonara New York.
Sayonara.
でも君にさよならは言わないよ。僕らはきっと会える。どんなに遠く離れていても君は僕の最高の友達だ。
友達だ。This is the part that got me. Oh my god.
こんなところで寝てはダメよ、あなた。いい夢みたいね。
すみません。
See, it must be a nice dream because this is the only time we got to see. We got to. How it just ends. But I understand why, I guess you could say, the author decided to have Ash dead or die instead of like going to Japan or whatever, because I forgot what character said this, but trouble seems to follow Ash wherever he goes, and Ash is a murderer. He committed a lot of crime, I guess you could say, so even if he does go to Japan, he's basically wanted if they find out he's alive. Like, yes, his identity is erased from the face of the earth because he's supposed to be dead. It's not that easy to hide stuff like that, I guess you could say, from the government. Like, just like to live normally. Even going to a foreign country, it's like hard. Even Ash said that he had like so many enemies, right? So those enemies will follow him, find him. I kind of understand why it happened, but I still believe it didn't have to happen. The main point was he finally got freedom from Dino, which is like his biggest like lifelong nightmare, lifelong enemy, and he finally did, but it got taken away from him. Oh, but I don't know, it was just so sad. Comment down below your feelings on Ash's death and your interpretation of why he died. There was actually a TikTok that my sister sent me that said Ash's death was so avoidable because if Ash decided to go with Blanca to the Bahamas or whatever, he could have lived. If Ash decided to see Eiji right away, he could have lived. But I think at the end of the day, he couldn't live 100% freely because there's so many people after him. But yeah, I didn't expect to cry once just talking about it, but I did. Okay, so I want to talk about my predictions throughout the show. So as I said before, I first predicted that Griff would get better, that they would find like an antidote, I guess you could say, or like a cure to fix him. But that didn't happen. Oops. After the first hospital scene, when after the first fight, Ash got arrested and then Eiji visited Ash at the hospital, I thought at that point, because I saw their type of relationship, I was like, okay, I feel like either Ash or Eiji are gonna die at the end. And I predicted that the way that they would die is, I thought that either Eiji would have to shoot Ash and kill him for a important reason, or Ash would have to shoot Eiji for a really important reason. Then the way that Shorter died was basically that way. Like Ash had to shoot Shorter to free him from the drug. After that scene, I kind of changed my thoughts because I was like, okay, if Shorter died the way I predicted Ash or Eiji would die, I feel like the author wouldn't really repeat it again because it would be repetitive, especially with a major death. So I changed my mind and I was like, okay, I feel like maybe none of them will die during like the slice of life moments when Eiji and Ash like fantasize about living in Japan, like, hey, like it'd be cool if we lived in Japan. And then at that point, I instantly knew Ash wasn't gonna go to Japan. I knew that that fantasy wasn't happening. From what I've seen in a lot of like shows and stuff, whenever characters, especially in like a tragedy type action type show, I find that whenever characters talk about the future or like fantasize about stuff like that, it tends not to happen. So at that point, I instantly knew it wasn't gonna happen, and I texted my sister. I was like, yo, they're talking about the future, it's not gonna freaking happen. And then at that point I was like, okay, I feel like Ash is gonna die. And then I predicted that Ash is gonna die in like an epic battle because like how else is he supposed to die, you know? I wouldn't want Ash to die a stupid death like getting stabbed by a freaking side character, but you know, it is what it is, I guess. Another prediction that I had was that Max and Jessica would get together. I also kind of thought that Max would die after he got kidnapped by Dino, or like held hostage by Dino. I was like, I feel like Max might die. But I'm really glad he didn't. They have a son that needs a father. But I feel like we all knew that. And then at the very end, during Ash's death, leading up to those events at the library, you can see like someone's following them, right? But I didn't think it was freaking Lau. Like, I honestly forgot about him because he was such an insignificant character. But like, I should have kept him on my radar because he left for a reason, right? I honestly thought it was Yeolang. I thought even after his conversation with Sing, I thought he would like do a huge 180 and say, hey, no, if I can't have happiness, he can't have happiness. And I thought like he shaved his head or whatever, and like, that'd be so epic though. Shaved his head and then stabbed Ash. But then at the very last split second before we saw the face of the killer, I remembered about Lau and I was like, oh my god, Lau? And then that's when I saw it. But I mainly thought it was Yeolang, which I thought, in my opinion, would have been more better because he was an actual like prominent character, but it was freaking Lau. Then again, I understand on a deeper level why it was Lau. This shows how even the most insignificant character has a grudge on Ash, right? So like, Ash wouldn't be entirely free even if he lived in Japan. And my last prediction in the show was that they would see the dad again. I really thought they would. I mean, it wasn't a big deal that they didn't. I just thought that they would. Okay, so this is the last segment. Random thoughts. My random thoughts about random things that happened and stuff that couldn't really go into a category. Eiji's family. I just kept thinking, like, how would it be like to be Eiji's family? Because first of all, healthcare in America is not cheap, right? And Eiji got an arm ouchie and then he got freaking shot. So it's like, that medical bills must have been a lot, unless Ibe-san covered it, but like still. Another random thought was at the very last scene when Sing was like dangling off of the building and then Ash was like holding him up. Ash is like superhuman because he got stabbed and then he was using that same arm to hold up Sing, and Sing is like an almost fully grown dude. Ash is so superhuman, but he dies from a stab wound. Okay, I'm gonna stop right there. Anyways, so during that last scene when Sing was like dangling off of the building, Ash was holding him up. Ash was like, give me your other hand, and then Sing was like, but the suitcase, and then Ash was like, it's okay, just let it go, and then he let it go into the pit of fire. I mean, it was a good thing that he did destroy the research or whatever in the fire, but it's like he could have still saved the information by throwing it to the other floor. I mean, it's good that he didn't because we don't need that banana fish anyways. Another thing, Blanca is such a freaking weird character. When he first came up, I was like, whoa, we got another antagonist, oh no. I was kind of like worried about him because he was Ash's teacher, probably one of the only people who can beat Ash at this point. Blanca like kind of lacks common sense in a way because I just can't get that scene out of my head during that final battle, and then they were going through the vent and then Sing obviously could fit because he's a small guy. Blanca's huge, he's like a bear. How did he think he would fit through there? It made me feel like Blanca is like a really soft guy. Blanca, I feel like, also really cared for Ash. I feel like he took up that job to come back out of retirement only to save Ash. Another thing that I noticed about the show is the lack of female characters, despite it being written by a female. In my opinion, not a huge deal, but it's just something that I noticed. I'm really glad that the only prominent female character, who is Jessica, was not an annoying damsel in distress. Like, she was strong, badass, smart, like, yes, we stand. And the last point that I want to talk about is Ash and Max's relationship. At the very beginning, Ash really hated Max's guts for shooting his brother in the legs, and Ash like despised Max for that. And they even were like, okay, once we get out of here, I'm killing you, basically. But then they ended up being companions, they ended up being very close friends, to the point where Max and him even joke around that Max is his dad. I just thought that was a really cute development with their friendship and their relationship. But yeah, that is all I wanted to talk about for Banana Fish. If you haven't watched it and you went through this whole thing, why? Because I don't want to spoil it for you. It's good to watch it without knowing anything, you know? But if you did watch it, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you like enjoyed my thoughts and my thought process throughout the show, my thoughts about the characters, my thoughts about the plot. But yeah, that's actually all I want to talk about. I do have a anime account on Instagram that lists like all the anime that I've watched and stuff like that, and my recommendations. I mainly watch a lot of like films and stuff. I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah, definitely go check me out over there on Instagram, and I will don't forget to subscribe here. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!